You know that feeling? That amazing, overwhelming feeling when something you've basically waited your entire life for finally happens.
Yeah, like a huge sporting moment you've poured everything into.
Exactly. That just explosion of joy, but also exhaustion, maybe even disbelief. It just washes over you, everyone around you.
Oh, completely. It's more than just a wave. It's like, total immersion.
Mm,
Our source material today talks about that, how so much has gone out of you emotionally
right.
that it takes days, maybe, 4 or 5 days, just to feel sort of back again and feel normal.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
That physical and emotional toll feels
Uh-huh.
unreal even as it's happening. It takes
Yeah.
time to really sink in to feel it.
But then you see everyone else. The source mentions everyone was out, everyone was hugging each other, the party just going on for hours and hours.
And that collective happiness, that shared thing, that's what makes it real, doesn't it? And quickly, too.
It does. And that level of deep, shared emotional investment. Well, that's really the crucial backdrop for this deep dive today. It sets the stage for everything else we're going to unpack.
It really does. Because today, we're taking a deep dive into a really complex moment of transition for a massive football club. But we're seeing it entirely through the eyes of the fans.
That's right. We've got this great source. It's an excerpt from a YouTube transcript. You get Liverpool fans giving their immediate, really raw reactions right after that incredible high of winning a major title.
Our mission, then, is to unpack all of that. We want to pull out the core feelings, the arguments flying around, the hopes, all from this fan perspective as they're dealing with some huge shifts.
Yeah, massive shifts. We're talking, the departure of a truly beloved homegrown star, which is incredibly sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's the arrival of a new manager stepping into, let's be honest, legendary shoes.
Huge shoes to fill.
And then what's next? The path forward after hitting that peak, after winning the title.
So, yeah, get ready. We're jumping right into that immediate aftermath. It's full of raw emotions, strong opinions. We want to understand what really matters when, for these fans, the club isn't just, a hobby. It feels like life itself.
Let's start right there with that triumph, the emotional weight of it.
Yeah, the source talks about the party hours and hours, into the next morning even.
It wasn't just a party, though, was it? It sounds like something more profound. That feeling of everyone was out, everyone hugging. It wasn't just in one place. It seemed to soak through the whole community.
That shared feeling, it's intense. And you hear in the source how overwhelming it was. This wasn't just, oh, cool, we won. It was something they'd waited all my life to see. And that physical and emotional cost you mentioned, needing 4 or 5 days to get back to normal because so much had gone out, it really shows the depth of that investment, doesn't it?
It absolutely confirms it. It wasn't just watching 90 minutes. It was decades of hope, personal identity tied up with the club, all culminating in that moment. Unreal at first, but seeing everyone else celebrating, that made it real.
Totally. And that intense high, almost exhausting, really sets the stage perfectly for, for the low point the source mentions.
Yeah.
The only downer on the whole season, as they put it.
Yeah. The Trent Alexander-Arnold news, that he's leaving at the end of the season. And from the fan perspective in this source, it's not just disappointment. It sounds genuinely heartbreaking.
And for very specific reasons they lay out. He's the boyhood Liverpool fan, came through the whole academy, spent 20 years here.
Right. There's that fundamental connection, that sort of assumed narrative built over literally decades.
And you hear pushback in the source against the idea that, he's given everything. The counter from some fans is, well, hang on, the club gave everything to him, didn't they? Put him on that platform where Real Madrid would even notice him.
That really hits a nerve, doesn't it? And what seems to sting the most reading this is that feeling of betrayal. After years of loyalty from the fans, they defended him again and again and again, didn't they? Against all the criticism, can't defend, the constant comparisons to Walker or Reece James.
Because he was one of our own. That phrase says it all.
It really does. And it shines a light on that unique fan-player bond, especially with local lads. There's this unspoken assumption of, mutual loyalty. It goes beyond just a contract.
It's about identity, history.
Exactly. And that assumption just feels, shattered when he apparently runs down his contract to leave on a free.
And not just anywhere, but to a rival. The source is clear they see Madrid as rivals, citing Champions League finals, even Trent's own interviews calling them rivals.
And the pain just gets layered on, doesn't it? Because it contradicts the whole story fans had bought into. The next Steven Gerrard talk, him saying he wanted to finish his career there. Liverpool is his life, that mural.
Just a young lad from Liverpool who's living his dream.
Yeah. It's like the fans, as the source puts it, put all our eggs in the Trent basket. Just assumed he felt the same deep connection they did. Assumed he'd just sign when the time came.
It really shows the power of narrative, doesn't it? How fans weave a player's story into their own sense of the club.
Definitely. And maybe the sharpest point made in the source is about his reported reason for leaving, wanting a challenge, or to get outside of his comfort zone.
Oof. Yeah, the reaction to that is immediate.
It's like, hang on, a Premier League season, trying to win a title for Liverpool, that is the absolute opposite of a comfort zone.
Right. From their perspective, that is the challenge. Winning the 21st title, the 7th European Cup, with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be the goal?
Exactly. The source basically asks, why not use your talent here? It underlines that fan view. Liverpool is the pinnacle. It doesn't matter if others think Madrid is bigger.
So for them, the ultimate challenge is defined by winning for this club.
Precisely. So the departure, especially like this, it's not just losing a great player. It feels like a rejection of their whole value system, their definition of ambition.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's heavy stuff. Let's take a breath there.
Yeah.
But moving on from that only downer, the source does shift. There's a definite upswing, some optimism fueled by other contract news.
Yes, absolutely. The fact that both Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk signed new deals, that's presented as a really significant positive moment.
And seen as proof, right?
Yeah.
That Arne is building something that's worth being a part of.
That's the interpretation. The source highlights it. 2 out of the 3 massive players we're talking about, Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, 2 of them chose to stay.
Which they frame as pretty impressive that Slot or, whoever done them deals managed to get them over the line.
Especially with Salah, right? Given all those reported offers from Saudi Arabia, and let's face it, most top clubs in Europe would have snapped up either player in a heartbeat.
So the insight here, from the fan view, is that keeping them is crucial. It prevents that potential long slide, that trophy drought. They mentioned Man United's current struggles?
Cautionary tales.
Exactly.
And crucially, the interpretation is Salah and Van Dijk staying shows they think they can win. Like, right now. Immediately.
So it's not about signing up for a 3-year rebuild.
No, exactly. They contrast it specifically with why Fernando Torres reportedly left years ago thinking it would take too long for Liverpool to compete again.
That's a key distinction. These guys, Salah and Van Dijk, they're in their 30s. They don't have endless time.
So their staying suggests they got assurances that Liverpool mean business, real assurances.
It implies that league title wasn't just a one-off, a culmination. It's seen as a starting point.
Yeah, they want to win next year and win the year after and win the year after.
Yeah.
Their commitment validates the fan belief in that immediate potential. It's a huge boost.
And that shared ambition, players, manager, fans, leads straight into the next big point from the source.
Yeah.
The need for investment. Now,
absolutely. Even after winning the league, maybe because they won the league, the argument for investment is loud and clear.
The thinking is that Slot, he wrung everything he possibly could have done out of that squad this season, maybe even squeezed more out than expected.
Right. So asking him to just go again with the same group, the source says that feels unrealistic.
And they get specific about the needs, don't they?
They do. Both fullback positions, a midfielder, and a striker. There's this strong feeling that if they'd just signed a top number 9 last season,
they wouldn't be sweating over point totals. They'd have been out of sight.
That's the belief.
Yeah.
And this call for spending, it's not just wishful thinking. It's justified by where the club is right now.
Yeah, position of strength. You've just won the league, created those unbelievable scenes. That has massive appeal. Players around Europe would want a part of that.
And then they list the resources. The money's there, they argue.
Mm-hmm.
Made a fortune from the Champions League, got the new deal with the D. Sponsorship revenues are going through the roof.
Plus, Premier League prize money, TV money.
The point is blunt. You're not telling me there isn't a big pot of money there ready to go and spend.
The feeling is the club can afford it. And more than that, they should spend. Now, from this position of strength.
Yeah, the insight is clear. They see all that income not just as profit, but as fuel. Fuel for more success. There's almost a moral duty to reinvest now.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly that. Other teams are strengthening, sure, but Liverpool are top of the pile right now. This is the moment. Go and win your next one.
Which brings us nicely to the man tasked with leading that charge, Arne Slot. And that huge question. How does he step out from Jurgen Klopp's enormous shadow?
It's a classic challenge, isn't it? The source even mentions the Shankly-Paisley parallel, following an absolute icon.
But the argument from these fans is pretty powerful. Slot has already done it.
By winning the league title in his first season.
Yeah. The insight is that winning, especially immediately like that, it just grants him his own platform, his own standing.
And they point to the media coverage as proof. Apparently the questions about Klopp have just stopped.
The narrative's shifted.
Seems so. And Slot's own reported attitude helps that I'm Liverpool manager, I have to win mindset. It shows he's got his own drive, his own expectations.
He's described as his own man, doing things his way.
Which leads to that optimistic question. Okay, so why can't he win more? Become a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time league winner. Win more European Cups.
There's a bit of nuance there, too, though. The idea that, okay, he won the first one with effectively Jurgen's team.
Right, inheriting those world-class pillars like Van Dijk, Salah, Alisson.
So the next step, the real test maybe, is winning with your own team after he's really put his stamp on it.
That makes sense. The first title is immense, historic, but building his era, that's the next chapter of the legacy.
But the overwhelming feeling from the source is just, wow, he's already written himself into our history books.
Yeah.
He's seen as absolute royalty. Fans have already fell in love with him.
Well, quite striking, isn't it?
It really is. The takeaway feeling is there's no Klopp hangover anymore. The focus is fully on Slot now and the future he could build.
A future that feels incredibly bright from this fan viewpoint, but yeah, it's definitely conditional. It depends on that investment, on building smartly from this amazing foundation.
Okay, so let's try and distill this. What are the absolute key takeaways we've pulled from this deep dive into the fan perspective in our source?
Well, first, that incredible depth of emotion around winning the league. It's exhausting, communal, takes real recovery time. It's not trivial.
Definitely. Then there's the sharp pain around the Trent departure. The specifics matter, homegrown, the narrative leaving for free to arrival. It cuts deep.
But that's contrasted really sharply with the optimism from Salah and Van Dijk staying. That's seen as a massive vote of confidence in Slot, in winning now.
Yeah, not a rebuild. And huge belief in Slot already, seen as his own man. Already out of Klopp's shadow because he delivered immediately.
But there's that clear, urgent demand for investment. Use the current strength. Use the money that's there. Push on now. Don't stand still.
So this dive into the fan voice, it really gives you, the listener, a much richer picture than just the headlines, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. It shows the passion, yeah, but also the specific expectations, the criteria fans use to judge success, loyalty, what really matters from their point of view.
And it leaves us with a really interesting thought to chew on, I think. Given that intensity, that emotional connection we talked about, and these clear demands for big spending despite just winning the league, and this unique instant bond with the new manager, what actually is the comfort zone for a club like Liverpool?
That's a great question. Is it just about winning trophies, or is there something more, an expectation maybe about winning a certain way, or maybe winning with certain players, like the homegrown ones?
Does that make the job uniquely challenging, even for a manager who's just delivered the biggest prize? How much will these deep fan expectations, the ones we heard in the source today, actually shape what happens next under Arne Slot?
Something to think about, definitely. The weight of history, but also the weight of present expectation.